I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but here I am. Maybe it's cathartic, or maybe I just want to get this off my chest because honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around what I found out. My name's Kevin, and I was married to this woman, Lisa, for about 3 years. We were pretty good together, at least I thought so. She seemed into me, we had a decent life, and I was starting to think maybe I'd finally found the one. Our wedding was a big deal, not just for us but for everyone who knew us. It was a small, intimate ceremony, but Lisa insisted on making it perfect, as if this was the start of some fairy tale. She looked stunning that day, and I couldn't stop smiling. But deep down, I guess I had this nagging feeling, like I was missing something, or maybe I was just too comfortable to see the signs. I mean, she was bitchy sometimes, a little too quick to lie about small stuff, but I brushed those off as minor flaws. Everyone has their quirks, right? The first signs of trouble weren't obvious. It was little things, her phone going off at odd hours, her dismissive attitude when I tried to talk about our future, the way she'd snap at me if I mentioned an ex or a guy friend. Nothing concrete, just enough to make me wonder if I was overthinking. Still, I wanted to believe in us. We had plans. She kept saying she was stressed from work, that she loved me, that she was just tired. But I couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something. Then, about 2 weeks after the wedding, I started noticing little changes. She became more distant, more secretive. Her phone was glued to her hand, and she'd hide it whenever I walked into the room. She'd get defensive if I asked questions. I even caught her deleting messages once. I saw her hurriedly close her apps when I entered the room. But I still didn't have concrete proof. Just suspicion, which was enough to make my stomach churn. I was starting to feel like I was going crazy, questioning everything I thought I knew about her and us. One night, I decided to stay up a little later than usual, just to catch her in the act or see if she slipped up somehow. I wasn't planning to snoop, but curiosity got the best of me. I kept my phone in my pocket, trying to look casual while she was in the living room pretending to watch TV. About an hour past her bedtime, I noticed her heading to the bathroom with her phone. She was acting weird, fidgety, and nervous. I figured, what the hell, I'd just peek. Maybe I'd catch her texting someone or doing something she shouldn't. I slipped my hand into her purse when she was in the bathroom. I don't know what I expected. Maybe secret messages, maybe some kind of flirtatious text, but what I found was worse. Her lipstick. Not just any lipstick, bright red, the kind that sticks out. And it was smeared on her neck, right where her skin met her hairline. I froze. My heart pounded. I stared at it for what felt like forever, trying to make sense of it. It was unmistakable. Someone had been all over her, and she didn't even bother to hide it. That was the moment I knew, without a doubt, that she had been cheating on me. My mind was swirling. I felt sick. I wanted to scream, cry, throw something. But I just stood there, clutching her lipstick, staring at that mark on her neck like it was a scar of her betrayal. I wondered how long she had been lying, how many times she'd gone behind my back. And more than anything, I wondered why. Why her? Why me? And what the hell was I supposed to do now? I didn't sleep that night. Honestly, I couldn't. I kept turning over everything I saw, trying to piece together how I missed all the signs, how I missed that she was slipping away from me while I was too busy thinking things were okay. I kept asking myself if I was blind or just stupid. Maybe I wanted to believe she loved me enough to stay faithful, or maybe I was just too comfortable, too trusting. In the days that followed, everything changed. She acted like nothing was wrong, smug, bitchy, dismissive. She'd give me these half-hearted apologies when I confronted her, like I was bothering her. "You're overthinking it, Kevin," she'd say, rolling her eyes. "You're paranoid. Maybe you're just insecure." Yeah, sure. That made me feel better, knowing she thought I was crazy for noticing her lipstick smudge and her cold attitude. But I wasn't stupid. I knew better. I started spying more. I looked at her texts, her social media, anything that could give me a clue. Nothing explicit, but I could sense the lies. The way she'd avoid my eyes, the way she'd make excuses. She'd say she was working late, out with friends, or she just needed some me time. But somehow, I knew those were just excuses. It was easier for her to lie than to face me honestly. Then I saw her phone light up while she was in the shower one morning. A message popped up from someone named Jake. I didn't recognize the number, but the message was clear. Can't wait to see you tonight, miss you already. My stomach clenched. I stared at that message for a long time, trying to decide whether to confront her then and there or keep digging. Part of me wanted to confront her immediately, but I knew better. I needed to get real proof, something undeniable. So I waited. I kept my cool, acting like everything was normal, while inside I was a mess. I started noticing more. Little things, her sneaking out of the house, her phone ringing at odd hours, her quick, nervous glances when I'd get close. It was like living with a stranger. I'd catch her lying about where she'd been, who she was with. And I hated that feeling, like I was losing her, losing the woman I thought I knew. Then one night it all hit me. I was sitting in our bedroom, staring at her, and she was brushing her hair in the mirror. She'd just come back from work again, but her face was flushed, her hair slightly disheveled. That's when I noticed it. Her earrings looked different and her blouse was slightly wrinkled. When I asked her about it, she snapped at me, told me I was paranoid and that I was making things up. But I knew better now. I realized she had been lying to my face for weeks. She was cheating, and she thought she could get away with it just because I was too naive or too trusting to see the signs. I felt my chest tighten. My head was pounding. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to make her admit everything. But I also felt the cold sting of betrayal deep in my gut. That's when I decided I needed to know the full story, everything. I couldn't go on living in this fog, pretending everything was fine. Because the truth was, I had been blind to her bullshit for a long time, and now I was awake, and I was furious. The next couple of days were a blur. I couldn't focus on anything else. Every time I saw her, I felt this surge of anger. How could she lie so easily, so convincingly? She was a bitch about it, too. Every time I asked her about the messages or her late nights, she'd brush it off, call me insecure or paranoid. She'd smirk like she enjoyed twisting the knife. Lisa always loved to make me doubt myself, to turn everything around so she looked innocent even when I knew better. One night I decided I'd had enough. I couldn't take the fake smiles and empty excuses anymore. I wanted the truth, plain and simple. I set a trap, pretending to be asleep, and waited for her to slip up. Sure enough, around midnight, her phone buzzed again. I watched her quietly from the bed as she tiptoed out of our bedroom, clutching her phone like a lifeline. This time I followed her to the bathroom where she was frantically trying to delete a message thread. She looked like a guilty animal caught in a trap. I stood silently in the doorway, watching her scramble to cover her tracks. Then she saw me. Her eyes widened and her face twisted into that familiar bitchy smirk. "What do you want, Kevin?" She snapped, voice tinged with annoyance. I didn't say a word. I just stepped closer. I saw the message from Jake. The late-night texts, the lipstick on your neck, I know everything now. She blinked at me, then her smirk turned into a sneer. "You're overreacting, you're crazy, that's just sex, Kevin, no big deal." I couldn't believe the lies she was throwing at me. No shame, no remorse, just cold, calculated denial. I felt my fists clench. "How long has this been going on, Lisa? How many times? Who else have you been screwing around with?" She chuckled bitterly, rolling her eyes. "You really think I'd just cheat on you like that? You're pathetic. Maybe you're the one who's been blind all along. Maybe I was just bored or needed excitement. Whatever, it's not your business anymore." That's when I snapped. I told her to pack her bags, that I was done dealing with her bullshit. I needed to hear her say it, admit it. But she just kept lying, twisting everything, making me feel like I was the crazy one. Every word she spat out just made my blood boil more. The hardest part was feeling the betrayal, not just of her cheating, but of her lying so effortlessly, like she enjoyed it. Like she got off on twisting me around her little finger. I'd trusted her, loved her, and she'd been playing me all along. My mind kept circling back to that lipstick, that mark on her neck, and the way she'd lied about everything. It was like my whole world was crumbling. I knew I had to make a decision. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was fine. I was furious, hurt, and exhausted. But deep down, I also felt a strange sense of clarity, like I could finally see her for what she really was, a liar, a cheat, someone I didn't recognize anymore, and that realization changed everything. After that night, I felt like I was walking around in a fog. The anger was still there, but underneath it all, there was a deep, aching sadness. I kept replaying everything, her sneaky little ways, the lies, the betrayal. It was like I'd been hit in the gut repeatedly. I didn't sleep much, and when I did, I'd wake up with her face in my mind, her smirk, her cold eyes. It was like I was mourning a dead relationship, even though she was still standing right in front of me. I knew I had to act. I couldn't just sit around and stew in my own hurt. I wanted to confront her again to get some closure, truth, I guess. I needed to hear her say it outright. So one afternoon, I asked her to sit down and talk. No more hiding, no more bullshit. I was done being polite. I told her I knew everything about Jake, the lipstick, the late nights, everything. And I demanded she tell me the truth once and for all. Her reaction was classic Lisa. She rolled her eyes, scoffed, and then started lying again. Kevin, you're crazy. It's not what you think. That guy's just a friend and nothing's happening. You're overreacting because you're insecure. Her voice was dripping with disdain. She looked at me like I was a complete idiot for even questioning her. I felt my blood boil. Stop the bullshit, Lisa. I saw the damn lipstick. I saw the message. I know you've been cheating on me. Don't lie to my face anymore. I was trying to stay calm, but inside I was shaking with anger. I'd never felt so betrayed, so humiliated. My marriage, the person I loved, was built on lies, and she had the nerve to deny it. She looked at me with that bitchy sneer. Fine. Yeah, I cheated. What's it to you? It's just sex. I didn't mean for it to get this far. You're not the man I thought you were, Kevin. You're boring, insecure, and honestly, I don't even care anymore. Her words cut deeper than anything else. She was so casual about it, so unapologetic, like I was just some obstacle she'd gotten bored of. That moment broke something inside me. I realized that I wasn't going to get anything honest from her. She was manipulative, selfish, and completely incapable of owning her mistakes. I couldn't keep pretending this was just a misunderstanding or that she'd change. I started thinking about what my next move should be. Do I try to fix this? Do I forgive her, or do I walk away? The answer was clearer than ever. I couldn't stay with someone who lied and cheated so easily. I deserved better than this. But the emotional toll was heavy. I felt this mix of rage, heartbreak, and disappointment. I'd never felt so lost. I'd always believed in honesty, loyalty, things that felt like they should be fundamental to a marriage. And now they were just shattered. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I was so blind. The truth hit me hard. I had wanted to believe in us more than I wanted the reality. And now I had to accept that everything I thought I knew was just a fragile illusion. Over the next few days, I stayed mostly quiet, trying to make sense of everything. I couldn't believe she'd just come clean, well, sort of, yet still act like she didn't care. That bitchy attitude of hers was worse than ever. She kept throwing jabs, acting like she was the injured party. You're so paranoid, she'd say, or maybe I just needed some excitement and you're too boring to give me that. I couldn't stand her lies anymore, but what hurt even more was knowing I'd wasted so much time, so much trust, on someone who had no respect for me. One night, I finally decided I needed to do something drastic. I told her I wanted her out of the house. I couldn't sleep under the same roof knowing she'd been unfaithful for who knows how long. She acted like she was surprised, like she genuinely hadn't expected me to come to this, but I knew better. She had been planning her escape even before I found out. She was already looking for her next trick, her next victim, while pretending everything was fine. When she packed her bags, I watched her with a strange mixture of anger and relief. Part of me was devastated, but another part was relieved to finally see her leave. I didn't want to be with someone who treated me like her backup plan, who lied constantly, and who saw sex as just a game. As she walked out the door, she looked back at me with that bitchy smirk that I now saw for what it truly was, a mask for her condescending attitude. In the days that followed, I started sorting through my feelings. The betrayal cut so deep that I wondered if I'd ever trust anyone again. But I also realized that I had dodged a bullet. Staying with her would have meant accepting her manipulations, her lies, and her disrespect. I was angry at myself for ever thinking she was the person I wanted to spend my life with. But I was also proud of myself for finally waking up, for recognizing her true nature. Now I'm left to pick up the pieces. I've blocked her number, deleted her from my social media, and I'm trying to focus on myself. It's not easy, and I still get flashes of pain and anger. But I know I've learned something valuable. Trust isn't a given, and people reveal who they really are through their actions, not their words. I wish I'd seen it sooner, but I also know I can't change the past. What I can do now is move forward, stronger and wiser. Most of all, I want to tell anyone reading this, trust your instincts. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Because when the truth finally comes out, it's worse than you ever imagined and it'll change your life forever. Looking back now, I realize that the entire experience has left me with more scars than I ever thought possible. I thought I knew Lisa, thought she was the woman I was going to build a future with, but she proved to be someone completely different. The betrayal was brutal, but what hurt even more was how easily she lied, how she pretended everything was fine until she couldn't anymore. Living through this has taught me a lot. Mostly that love isn't enough if the foundation isn't built on honesty. I kept convincing myself she was just stressed or unhappy, but in the end, she was just selfish. I was blinded by the idea of what I thought we had, instead of paying attention to her actions. People show you who they are if you're willing to see it. I just wish I'd seen it sooner. Now I'm trying to rebuild. It's not easy and I won't pretend I've moved on completely, but I've started focusing on myself, going out more, reconnecting with friends and trying to find a sense of peace. I've realized that I don't need someone who manipulates and lies to feel complete. I deserve someone who respects me, who's faithful, and who values honesty above all. To anyone out there going through something similar, trust your gut. Don't ignore the signs, no matter how small or inconvenient they seem, because when betrayal hits, it hits hard. And the pain might never fully go away, but you can choose to learn from it and grow stronger. I'll never forget what happened, but I refuse to let it define me. I'm taking back control of my life now, and that's what matters most.